Here we go. Right on target. Thank you, everybody. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. We're delighted that you could join us to talk a little bit about AI and how exporters can use it, how companies can use AI to boost their sales. We're delighted today to have Joel and Jonathan with us to talk about this too. We're really going to try and focus on some really cutting edge AI and what it means for businesses, because it's been around for a while. It's now really popped out of the box because of ChatGPT. It is here to stay, whether we like it or not. It is here to stay. Now, just while the last of you are logging on, I'm going to do some quick introductions, and just to say, who we are and things. For those of, although I think looking through this, so there's quite a few of you, I think that know us already, and I'm delighted to see you there. But today we are really pleased that Jonathan can join us. Jonathan Zooks, he's not only president of ASI Wheels, North Carolina, fantastic company, but he's also the Mid-Atlantic representative chairman for NADEC. That's the National Association of District Export Councils. And Jonathan's going to be talking a little bit about AI and his views on it and how it affects his business and things. And then Joelle Lazarotto, who's our online marketing director for IBT Online. She's going to drill down and really focus in on some of the key strategies and the sort of the different buckets that one has in looking at AI on marketing and sort of what it means and what are the major apps, things like that. And then myself, my name is Susanna. I'm Chief Content Officer at IBT Online, and I'm here to sort of curate questions. I'd love to have some questions in the chat box, please. We know you've got all of busy days. You've taken the time and committed to taking an hour out of your time to spend it. So put the questions in there if you've got questions. We'll get back to them. And then I want also just to have a quick word about us as a company. So Joelle and I work for a company called IBT Online. IBT, we're a U.S. company and we have a Canadian subsidiary, and we are 100% focused on online tools. And that means websites and online marketing. And we are also focused on exporters. So those two things cross, exporting and online tools. And that's where you'll find us. And we're very proud and pleased to have developed a series of online global programs. They're really designed for exporters looking to grow their business internationally. And we've developed this with a series of US states and also with some of the provinces in Canada. And they're really designed to help companies reach international markets, expand their brand and their sales and such. And as that's the great thing about online tools. They're all they're all aiming to grow your top line. That's that's what a website does. It helps grow your top line. That's what marketing does. It helps grow your revenue, your sales, your brand awareness. So with that, I thank you all for logging on. Just a few last laggards coming on. Thank you. Welcome. Going to get to the agenda. Jump right in it. So we've packed quite a lot into today, but we think you can handle it. And you will get a recording of this and the slide deck in your inboxes, I think, tomorrow. And if anyone wants the slides in particular, as opposed to the recording, let us know. We can send you the slide deck. So Jonathan, as I said, is going to talk to you a little bit about his perspective from NADEC's perspective. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about the sort of the most recent changes and developments in AI, what I've called the AI tech boom. And then Joelle's going to talk about sort of the strategies for growing your exports and what that means for marketing in particular. So it's particularly for marketing and using AI. And then I'm going to circle back as well with some practical tips. Like I said, and there are some really here's some takeaways. Practical tips about how to use generative AI. What is LLM? That sort of thing. And then, as I said, some takeaways and some time also for those questions, which we're hoping that you do that. So with that, I'm going to pass over to Jonathan and talk us a little bit about NADEC and how they see AI at the moment, Jonathan.
Thank you, Susanna, and thank you all you attendees for joining this webinar. I think it's very important for all of you to understand, what AI is and how to leverage it, best use it, but also how to, sidestep some mistakes that may happen when it comes to using AI. And from the National Association District Export Council's perspective, we see AI as a growing part of exports. Not only a growing part in the service industry, but also in products, and how people find your products online and everything. So, this webinar is very timely. I want to thank IBT Online for partnering with NADEC for years in bringing these timely webinars, because I think it's important for all of you attendees to kind of understand AI, where it's going, where it's been, and kind of what's going to come of all this. We hear and see in the news that every government around the world is wanting to do different things with AI and regulations and rules and how it can be used. And I think it's very important for all of us, business leaders, exporters, service providers, manufacturers, to understand these rules and regulations. And my biggest thing that I will tell you as an exporter, and as chair of the NADEC, is don't do this alone. This is why we're having these webinars, to connect you with organizations like IBT that can help you navigate through all of these opportunities. And they're great opportunities. I don't want anybody to, get a misrepresentation that I'm thinking, oh, AI is going to be a huge issue. No, I think AI is a huge opportunity for companies, but we also have to be very wary of changing rules and regulations, the changing technology, the changing ways that AI will be used. And I think with partnering with somebody like IBT Online, I think you can leverage those to benefit you and your company, as opposed to being on the flip side of it, which is, uh-oh, I'm out of compliance, I'm having all these issues, I've got the EU barking down my neck, I've got Brazil barking down my neck, I've got South Korea, with all these different issues on their rules and regulations. So I am really looking forward to this webinar and learning everything that I can about AI and leveraging it for marketing and different things for my business. But I also want to learn about, from Joelle and Susanna, what should we be looking out for? I use IBT Online personally with my business, so I can tell you when it comes to AI, we're definitely going to be reaching out to Joelle and saying, we want to utilize this platform. However, please help us, use it properly and in compliance with all the different rules and regulations that are going to be coming out. So I wish you all to enjoy this webinar. Like I know I will enjoy it, and I will turn it back over to Joelle and Susanna. But I really want to caution everybody, AI is not something, other than having it on your phone to ask questions like who's going to win the Super Bowl, who's going to win the English Premier League or something like that. AI is probably not something you want to use on your own for your business marketing strategy. You're going to want to partner with somebody like IBT Online to properly use AI. I like asking ChatGPT all kinds of weird questions, but I can tell you when it comes to marketing, I'm going to go to Joelle first and I'm going to say, Joelle, how do we do this with AI properly? And how do I stay in compliance? Because although our cell phones and computers are great, a lot of times they can get us in trouble. So Joelle and Susanna, I'll turn it back over to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Jonathan. That was great. And very much we agree that AI can be an enormous tool and an enormous enabler. It is really helping us optimize and streamline and get boost productivity, especially in our marketing side, but also even in coding. But it is a powerful tool, and therefore needs to be carefully used. So these days there's a lot of companies using AI, and we have to be one of them. We started testing generative AI as ChatGPT and such already, over a year ago now. And since then, we've learned a lot about its capacities and are rolling out pretty popular tools. But there's always a human layer. Nothing is ever put out there. Nothing is ever used. We use AI as first draft, and that's really, I guess, getting back to Jonathan's point. But I wondered from all of you out there, how many are already on good old ChatGPT? And how are you using it? And are you using it? Let's take an example. It's not hard. Let's give it a try. Let's say, please write 800 words on why U.S. companies that export need online business development tools and to reach international prospective buyers. Well, here we go. Here we go. Okay, look at that. They're cost effective, efficient, lead generation, competitive advantage. In conclusion, the modern era demands online tools. There's, this ChatGPT believes that we should all have, here we go, the role of online business development tools for U.S. companies exporting their products and services cannot be overstated. Now let's turn it into a poem. Let's see what come on, turn this into a poem, ChatGPT. Let's do this. Oh, please. We're always very polite to ChatGPT, by the way. So, okay. Here we go, the same in a poem form, all about online tools. Okay, post-pandemic wins. In this age where worlds collide, the digital tide is the guide to reach beyond, to touch the skies. With online tools, let your business rise. I didn't say it was a great poem, but there's an example of ChatGPT creating content as fast as that. So, it is a fun thing to do as well. But we're going to get back a little bit about that. But I wanted also to say, we've actually, we're all talking about AI and generative AI. The buzz for 2023 is AI. But it's worth remembering that it's actually been with us for a long time. I mean, Alan Turing wrote about abstract computing machines with limitless memory and scanners back in 1935. By 1947, he was basically describing generative AI and created something called the Turing test in 1950. We've been using AI since. So it's actually been around a very long time. Maybe the word artificial intelligence isn't somehow difficult for us, but it is there. We have been using it for quite a long time. And there's different parts and different types of artificial intelligence that we've been using. So the circle on the right shows you those big bands, artificial intelligence, which many of you, if you're manufacturers, are using artificial intelligence already in your manufacturing processes. Machine learning then came after that, then deep learning, really pioneered by Google. And now these LLMs, these large language models, and the generative AI. So AI, as I said, has been around for a long time, and it's Alexa talking to you and giving you the recipe in the kitchen when you're cooking, or it's your car parallel parking for you. One of the freakier ones for me is when, let's say I'm having a conversation with my kids and we're talking about going hiking in the Blue Mountains, and then a short while later on my Instagram, I get advertisement for Blue Mountain hotels. How does that happen? Guess what? Your iPhone listens to you. There's AI in your iPhone listening, not just to see what you are on the internet, but actually listening and responding through ads. So that's a bit freaky. But for business, if we now focus on business outcomes rather than on how AI works, it looks pretty compelling that AI could be an enormous enabler. It helps productivity and workflows. And as I said, you've all known that already since the 1950s in terms of factory production and so on. But now we're talking about AI entering into the sort of the front office as well. And so that's really where we're looking on this AI thing. Now, the latest, as I said, is LLMs and generative AI. So that's generative AI is as you've all heard about, ChatGPT. So and I'm sure you've all seen copies of this graph I have on the left of your screen. The time it took for 1 million users, 5 days. I think for 100 million users for ChatGPT, it took 2 months. Twitter took 2 years for 100 million users. So that gives you a sense of the adoption rate, of the rapid adoption rate. ChatGPT arrived at the right time. The markets were really ready for it, hungry for it. the time just seemed absolutely right to have that kind of generative AI for that. And experience, with AI tools and advanced prompt engineering, as it's called in marketing, is really becoming an in-demand marketing skill. If you're looking for marketeers today, you're asking, what are your AI skills? How are you on LLM? What do you like on ChatGPT and so on? And it's opening up whole new dedicated roles and functionality for marketeers. And that's really important for anyone looking at exporting, because exporting is tough. International markets often have higher costs built into them. AI helps drive down those costs and helps you reach into international markets more efficiently. So for exporters like yourselves, and for us, we're delighted to use AI in an efficient way that we can. So by learning to use and chat, if you like, with an AI tool, marketeers unlock a whole world of insights and ideas and time saving and productivity and so on. So, online marketeers were pretty early adopters, in fact, of AI. I guess they had to justify their existence to the sales departments. But, and if you think what marketing is, online marketing is looking at masses of data. And you need to organize that data, repackage it, and then align that data with your business goals and reach out again. So AI, in that sense, it's natural that marketeers adopted all these artificial intelligence or AI plugins and tools that we all use these days. There's a lot of AI different tools, and I'll get onto that in a second. The four big things that marketeers use AI is things like chatbots and that sort of content creation, then analysis of and reporting on marketing, which is absolutely essential. And Joelle goes on and on about the data, and reporting and analytics of marketing, because without it, you're kind of lost. And that's about 45% of marketeers are saying they're using that, but I'm surprised only 45%. I don't understand how you analyze real marketing data without AI tools in today's world. I just want to bring up a little slide here just to show you that since I guess last October, November, when ChatGPT was launched, everybody has been launching their own AI app, and there's just an absolute sort of explosion in AI at the moment. Every software ever has got to have an AI app these days. The classics that I've written here is, the Google ad forecasting, there's some AI to target different markets and audiences already on LinkedIn, on Meta, and so on. So those are all the classics. I added some of the ones that we use as well. We use quite a few, and we often cross them. What's really interesting is to take something from ChatGPT and then align it and feed it back into another AI, for example, a Jasper, which is specifically for blogs. And that's a really interesting sort of dynamic as well, when you get it's almost a sort of integration between two AI groups. There's a couple of areas, and Jonathan mentioned some of this, the regulations going on about AI, and nobody's quite figured this out yet, and especially about plagiarism and copyright. It's one thing on content that's harder to distinguish, because AI apps like ChatGPT, they scour the internet, and they look at the internet, and they just take pieces randomly. Okay, so it's harder because it looks like a mishmash of other people's content, so it's hard to distinguish. But for the visuals and for music, it's actually a lot easier, it's a lot clearer that content comes from a specific artist. And that's why I think we think that a lot of the regulation is coming from, in fact, the visual and the music side of the industry, rather than the content side. That's what you're getting. I think Universal Music and Google announced today that they're working on a project in order to give artists back some control and also some copyright payment for music that's generated by AI. Before I go and give Joelle the microphone to talk about specific strategies, I just wanted to give a quick poll and see how many of you guys are already really keen on AI. Who's really, now how many of you are just absolutely AI proof? You've been in it for years, you're still testing it out, or you're scared to start. What is AI? Who? I'll give you some feedback actually. And first of all, I want to say thank you. You're very fast on the click buttons, and you're participating very well. Thank you. I appreciate that. So nearly all of you have voted. Thank you. I'll give you some quick feedback. There's quite a few of you who are like, AI what? I'm not going near that thing yet. There's a very few minority as well that has been using it for years and is very comfortable in it. The big bulk of you, as you can imagine, is in those middle sectors of like, need some help getting started, not sure what we're doing, just starting to experiment on it. Anyway, thank you all very much, and particularly for participating in that. We're gonna have a few other polls later, but now I'm gonna hand over to Joelle to talk about strategies for exporters.
That's great, Susanna. Thank you so much. And thank you everyone for joining us. Susanna mentioned we've been experimenting, testing, and playing around with different AI tools. And, I'm still fascinated, Susanna mentioned, how quickly, artificial intelligence or, platforms like ChatGPT have really become part of everyone's everyday life. But, as from a marketing standpoint, we go back a few years and very much start thinking about how some of those platforms, your Meta, your advertising, your Alexas, they've actually been part of our daily lives for years. Geolocation functions, translator, messengers. We've just not really been as exposed to what using AI really means. So today I wanted to show you some examples and really dive into a little bit more of different strategies, different ways that AI can be leveraged by exporters, very much with that goal to expand your target markets and reach your prospects and really grow that export sales using AI and very much smartly using your data. Susanna mentioned, those of you that have worked with me, Jonathan might be able to vouch. I'm sure is smiling that data is a big part of what we do at IBT Online, and that's something that I am very passionate about. And I think AI really plays a key role in helping us doing that. But before we dive into some of the specifics, I just wanted to show you again some pretty staggering numbers. So really here thinking about what does all of this mean for us? What does all of it mean for you exporters, for your company, and how can we really leverage the power of AI? This is indeed no longer a far off concept at all. And this is actually continuously accelerating. Here we've got some numbers from Salesforce, so a big global platform. In 2018, they reported about 29% of marketing leaders using AI tools, which exploded to 84% by the end of 2022, and it's probably closing into 90, 92, 93 as we are now in 2023. So much so that its market value has skyrocketed and is reached an estimated value of $108 billion US dollars by 2028. So Susanna showed you, we saw that list of platforms. Everyone is trying to get a piece of this action. There are so many platforms out there that really can help you if used correctly and very much aligned to, again, your export strategy and what you're trying to do in each market. So today I just wanted to take you through a few different ways to use AI, specifically in marketing, but marketing here very much to be seen in that business development tools, online tools to reach your prospects globally, adapting that to their market and supporting your export. So as vast as AI is, there is always that key problem. Where do I start? How do I tackle this? So we've seen companies across industries really around the world experimenting with AI, artificial intelligence technologies to enhance the sales enhance their operations, and really keep their customer services up to date and being able to communicate as effectively as possible with prospects, but also with existing customers, your distributors, everyone around the globe. So here very much is not a surprise that marketing is embracing this technology. And with so many potential digital touch points and pathways to build your brand awareness and build those conversions, so getting more leads, increasing your sales, finding ways to better connect with your consumer is a challenge, but it's also great opportunities here. So in export markets, this can be especially difficult as your buyers may well be using, different platform. For example, they might be on a different social media platform than what your domestic, target market or your persona uses. An example here, if you want to export to Canada, you probably don't need to rely on WhatsApp business account as much as if you were looking at Mexico, where you definitely need a WhatsApp account. So let's go through some examples of how to use AI marketing, and notably here, very much with that international focus. So the first thing, AI for ad optimization. This is one of the longest standing AI application, although maybe a less known one if you've not been diving into the advertising world as much. AI for adverse optimization very much relies on platforms like Google, LinkedIn, Meta, so your Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp as being part of the Meta family. They've all been using AI-powered tools to help marketeers and advertisers reach their target audience, providing insights into future search volume, supporting reach and expansion, all based on tons of data that they gather every single second someone engages with their platform. So here, I can already see some of you, here comes a big question. If we can all improve performance using AI-powered solution, then who wins? If we all have the same tools, how can you differentiate yourselves and really stand out from your competitors, stand out from the crowd? And the answer really is not that surprising, but AI alone is not going to do the trick. And this is something that, we'll repeat and we'll see it throughout. Your knowledge of your customer, your industry, your business is key. These are all key factors in guiding AI to success. And especially when it comes to international sales and improving your cross-channel strategy, you always need a human. You always need someone with that specific knowledge to support AI, to guide it and to interpret what AI can give back to you. So it's a virtuous cycle, really. You can multiply your results and marketing expertise with AI, but at the same time, AI learns from you. It learns from the feedback that you give it. And this is very much the same thing if we look at AI for content creation and scaling. So this is possibly the most talked about AI application in 2023. Everyone is on ChatGPT, on Jasper, so many great AI platforms out there. And it's great to see, if we look at how people are actually using generative AI, it's mainly really to get ideas, outline, first drafts for new content, and this is how it should be used. This meaning that when using generative AI to write copy, you see here the report above there, just 5% of marketeers actually use it to write the entire piece of content for them. It's actually pretty simple. You've seen Susanna demonstrate that at the very beginning. You just give it a command and off you have 800 words in the quickest time you've ever seen. Sometimes it really does take a little while to get started. But we see here 1/3 of generative AI users actually lean on these tools to get ideas or inspiration, or maybe another outline. 25% of us in marketing tend to use it to write a few paragraphs, and then you'll expand on it. Again, circling back to what I was mentioning before, if you've ever tried to get AI to write a publish-ready article or a social media post or a caption for your YouTube video, it doesn't quite do the trick. It's not quite good enough. AI is fantastic to get the ball rolling and brainstorming. Don't get me wrong, we've all sat in front of that blank Word document or that blank piece of paper trying to get started and you can't quite get the ball rolling. Tools like ChatGPT quickly get all of the information available, speeds up the research process by a very considerable amount of time. making it incredibly easy to digest. It really is fantastic at giving you that information. So rather than clicking around on all of this Google search and or Google results, scrolling past loads of medias and pictures, that gives you a fantastic starting point, a great way to get ideas rolling, get that basic conversation on a topic. But my suggestion here is very much simple. If you come across a good idea, use it. It's really about stumbling across a brilliant idea, bringing it up to life, is very much about getting the best inspiration. But please, please, please do put your own touch to it, because you are the expert. You understand how your consumers want the information, what relates most to them, and how that is important. So quite very quick pro and cons about AI generated content here. Quick turnaround. So as we said, AI provides almost immediate results, very speedy content creation, no matter what the subject, it could be super simple, it could be extremely technical. It's cost effective because you can create more content at a fraction of the cost as a full-time writer or a freelancer, simply because it just speeds up the process so much. And again, it takes you off the, unblocks that writer's block we've all been facing that piece of paper. There is a lot of pressure to develop new ideas, loads of content. We'll touch upon SEO in a moment, but sometimes when you're up against a deadline, it can be really, really hard to get started. So by all means, leverage AI. That is a fantastic way to get started, generate multiple ideas for you to work from one single entity. However, be very conscious of plagiarism. Susanna mentioned that, Jonathan as well touched upon it. AI does take content from the web. It does create fast content at a fraction of the cost. However, you will always need to make sure that you review it, you paraphrase, rewrite. This is content that they've learned from the World Wide Web. Make it your own and make sure that Google doesn't then devaluate your brand authority or your website authority, because there are so many tools out there now that every search engine are developing. For example, Google is introducing something called the EEAT, or helpful content update. It's basically another AI tool that runs through your AI generated content to show that it's not fully AI reliant. So again, quality is gonna become more and more important. If everyone is churning out content at incredible speed, quality is what's gonna make it stand out in the eye of AI, in the eye of Google, and in the eye of the end consumer, whether that's your prospect, whether that's your customers, whether that's your partner. And again, one last con is quality and can be inconsistent at times. It very much depends on how good you are with your prompt. It very much depends on the information available. But really concluding here, I would just say the AI content is a perfect imperfect solution, put it away. So even the world's best writers, find themselves needing some help. But by all means, there is no way to help your business other than incorporating your own creativity in that. So take the time to go through the content, take the time to make it your own. And this comes again key when we look at SEO for something like SEO planning. So search engine optimization. We have several resources that we've developed over the years. They're all on the IBT online website, discussing why great content is king, how you can leverage your website content to grow expo sales, how to write great content for social media. But here, SEO, so search engine optimization, is a key element of getting your content to work hard for you. Once it's published, you want this to be found, to be read, to entice people to get in touch with you. So SEO is a critical aspect of digital marketing, of every international marketing strategy. And to use AI technologies, something like ChatGPT or Jasper again, can help search marketeers improve these efforts. However, as we've highlighted here, the content very much is one element of SEO. There are many other factors that make words on that page into powerful content, ready to be found by your prospects, ready to be indexed and engaged with. And I don't mean to start sounding negative here. I just really want to stress that AI tools can be an invaluable tool for search marketeers in the process. However, that doesn't mean that you will have the right keywords with the right volume specific to the market that you're targeting. So same goes with something like a product description, create a meta description for your website, generate the great headlines for your ads. AI tools, really can help, but make sure that you continue putting in your research. And here it doesn't mean that you need to do it all by hand. It means that you use your generative AI to write the content, but then you already use the Google Keyword Planner AI to give you data on what the forecasting for search volumes in your region that you're targeting in that specific language will look like. Do leverage AI tools by all means. Just make sure that you do all of the groundwork and you continue putting in the effort, and you don't just rely on something that's been generated for you in a matter of seconds. And this really carries over to something as big as a topic as social media. We could not talk about AI without mentioning social platforms. I mentioned very briefly before how platforms like LinkedIn and Meta, so Facebook, Instagram for you and I, have been using AI to optimize the advert side of things for years. But the same really goes for all the organic posting and all of the scrolling that we do every day. So here I just really wanted to highlight some top level figures just to frame and convey how big this slice of the industry is, so social and AI intersecting, and how much AI is impacting everything happening across social channels. So, but hey, really, what does this mean for us? Again, stepping back, when we're leveraging these platforms internationally, what do we need to be mindful about? This annual growth of nearly 30%, what does it mean? So while social media content and social media campaigns or paid ads are inherent, they're really unique and require human creativity, some social posts are meant to tackle a simple objective, and those are the ones AI tools can help with. So again, here we go back to, we know that content tailored to each platform. So if you guys are active with your business through you are LinkedIn, on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook, on Pinterest, it's always important to make sure that your content is tailored by the length, by the keywords, by the hashtags to that specific platform. And it can become tedious trying to come up with the same idea 3 times or trying to rewrite the same post to fit a specific length of character. AI can make this process so much quicker. But to be able to do that, AI really does need your help in input. It can help you conceptualize your idea for then to validate the reference. It can help you design graphics as well. So we talk about generative AI. It's not just for the words. It can really help with some fantastic imagery, write audience-driven copy. So it takes everything it's learned from your previous social media interaction. So what was your best performing post and how do we replicate that engagement? But you'll want to see the social media posts reflect your brand correctly. So you need to spend a little time getting to know the platform, providing it with context around who you are, what you do, what your key USPs are, what your audience in general looking for, what platforms they engage most. So again, learn from AI, but also give something back so AI can learn from you. And that's really going to be a powerful union that is going to take your social media exposure to the next level. In the next few slides, I just wanted to focus on something that might be a little bit more technical. And talking about social media, just wanted to start here from another great tool that AI can help with, which is sentiment analysis or broader aspect of social listening. So basically, these are software that can track and rate all of the posts, comments, likes, dislikes, interaction of any brand across all of the social media platform. And this includes platform like Reddit or YouTube. So the amount of data they analyze is huge. So at IBT Online, for example, we use an AI tool called Sprout Social. And these are some examples of sentiment analysis for some of the campaigns that we're running. So this is for a website and a marketing program we're running that is all about, as you'll see there, food is all about barbecue, is all about grilling. And I thought it was just a fantastic example. You see some emojis in there. But what we wanted to show you here is how much data, tools for sentiment analysis that use machine learning algorithm to gather this data. And this is all about the consumer attitude across the platforms and across markets. So this can give you a global idea of how your brand is perceived. And this can really help exporters evaluate the emotional state of a consumer, And in marketing, most companies, we would help them turn to sentiment analysis through customer surveys and social media monitoring. Why this is important, it sounds like a little bit far-fetched, but in the online world, people often form opinions and they express them very quickly. So it really takes a second for someone to comment, for someone to like, for someone to share. And companies who know how consumers feel about the products, feel about the services, and how they're interacting and sharing their opinion with the rest of that community really are better equipped to improve that sentiment and then eventually win business. So this is another fantastic way that AI can help you in, for example, social media, and really growing that brand awareness, but awareness in the sense that you are aware of what happens as you get other people aware of your brand. And then getting again a little bit more in the technicalities of AI, but as Susanna mentioned, data is something that I'm very passionate about. Data reporting. I really wanted to highlight two more things I find super interesting that AI really can help in marketing, and believe me, we've seen these really be key to grow conversions or sales through international websites. So the first one being A/B or ABCD, so testing, multiple variable testing. And why this is important to start with, because as much as we'd all like to think that we get everything right the first time around, unfortunately that's hardly ever the case, and that's fine. Testing images, testing different call to actions on your website, testing the placement of your forms. Do we need it on any landing page? You only have one. Really is key in ensuring that you're offering the best possible experience to anyone that reaches your site, whether they are prospect customers, your partners. You need to make sure that you allow them to find the information they need and engage with you in the manner they're most comfortable with, and adding another layer here on whatever platforms they're navigating on. So the problem we often face with testing is that although A/B testing is highly effective, it can really sometimes takes a lot of time. So if you aim at gathering data, then analyzing it, unless you have a dedicated data team in-house, it could take months of testing to arrive to an optimal result and choose the winner. But here is very much where AI can really come to the rescue. We saw how AI gathers and analyzes data, and here I want to stress we're talking about tons of data points simultaneously. AI tools are able to provide insights, recommendation, and further testing suggestion virtually in real time, very much making that process seamless, giving you as much data as possible, and very much streamlining and fast tracking your sales cycle. Is all about getting that conversions quicker by knowing what works best with your audiences. And this can then also feed and help into what we call predictive analytics. So analysis and prediction very much here is something that AI is helping us quite literally, predicting what could happen in the future. But okay, what I mean here is how can we use AI to help us understand what the future landscape will be? We do something now, how are we going to make sure that this is the right thing in 3, 4, 5, 6 months time? Predictive analytics, in essence, uses machine learning and artificial intelligence, their models to model and turn data from everywhere, from a variety of sources, into actual actionable insights, giving us as exporters the ability to plan for the road ahead and really make informed decisions. So is this piece of, is this content pillar what I need and what people are going to be searching for? Is this kind of content on social media? All we can do is very much base ourselves on behavior patterns, including, how people have engaged with similar content, what are the trends, and this really should help us guide how to allocate resources at certain times. Seasonal sales, do you need to restock more frequently? Is there something in these models is going to tell us that a specific product is going to explode over the next 3-4 months? We don't quite have that crystal ball just yet, but this is the best we can do. And believe me, we've seen some pretty good and exciting results from predictive analytics. So that's something that I just wanted to put on the radar for everyone that's looking to use AI in marketing. And I just want to very quickly wrap this up before I hand back over to Susanna to actually dive into some practical examples and recap some AI do's and don'ts. So just a few points here. please, if there is one thing to take away from for me today, is that AI is so much more than ChatGPT. There is so much more out there and so much more that can be done and really can be leveraged in those international markets. AI is fairly behind what marketeers actually do. It's helping us. And then there is a mutual relationship. We use AI and AI learns from us. So that specialized knowledge, that skill set that you have internally, do not underestimate that. That is key to success with AI. And make sure, again, you control AI in that sense, triple check feedback and do that again. So again, don't over or underestimate what AI can do. Don't ask the wrong question, because at that point you'll get the answer that you asked for. And make sure that you don't ignore the value of being right or the cost of being wrong. So again, triple check, make sure you put your personal touch to it, and then AI is really, really, really going to be a powerful tool to help you grow your sales and exports globally. And on that, I'll hand over to Susanna. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you, Joelle. Before I just leave some time for questions and things, I wanted to launch a poll just to say, do you want to learn more about AI and marketing? We have like some blogs and things we can send you. We can point you in the right direction if you want to have some more information, infographics or whatever. Let us know. I thought also really the last two examples that Joelle gave, which was about A/B testing and predictive analytics, really highlights the strengths of AI. AI allows something that, A/B testing is so important, and AI allows marketeers to actually, fast track it and do it easily and efficiently. So it really optimizes that task. And then the predictive one, again, is something that's very new, and again is a very, very powerful tool. Thank you all very much for your. I've left the poll open. I'm going to close the poll now. Thank you very much for that, for participating in that. I'm going to give you a couple of sort of practical tips, and then some takeaways. So just very quickly, some practical tips. Now, there are two big things to watch out for with AI, and particularly with so-called generative AI. That's the ChatGPTs of the world. The first is fakes, and the second is hallucinations. Great words. So fakes is, for example, a fake image. Here we have the Pope and Elon Musk both in the same white puffer jacket. None of them would usually wear this, but there you go. In this image you have, which is obviously a fake. And that's something that AI does really easily. It is super easy to generate fake imagery on AI. Okay? Bear that in mind when you're next looking at imagery. And these ones you can sort of slightly, if you're good, you can slightly tell that they're a bit fake, they're a bit photoshopped, his hand doesn't look right, but it's improving day by day. Within a very short time, it's going to be really, really hard to tell the difference between a fake image and an AI and a real one. And then hallucinations are another funny thing. So generative AI, LLMs, can hallucinate. So in this example, what's the world record for crossing the English Channel entirely on foot? Well, ChatGPT took this totally seriously and said, well, it's held by this German guy. He did it in 14 hours, 51 minutes. There's a lot of challenges on the way. Can be dangerous. So walking and swimming is advised. Anyway, it's just no, totally wrong. So again, just to emphasize a little bit Joelle's point, AI can be used as a draft, as an enabler, as something that accelerates, but you can't leave it out there as the final one. As a marketeer, Joelle talked about the necessary keywords that you have to put in there to make it effective for your brand. You have to have the voice. You have to have all those things that make it effective for you. So, so the practical tip, beware of fakes and hallucinations. Then a couple of things about sort of editing best practices. We talked a lot about the strengths of AI. There's some major weaknesses of languages like ChatGPT. And it's really about, richness and depth. Specifically, AI has problems with what we call voice. That's the voice of your brand. Even if you say to AI, say them this kind of language, it's not going to be your words from your company when you say this. And that's especially important when you're going on international markets where you're exposing your brand. And people are learning about your brand for the first time sometimes in those export markets. And you need to make sure that voice is the legitimate one from your company. AI also has great problems giving examples. This is because of the way it scours the web, and that's where you get the most kinds of hallucinations coming up. So again, when you're asking AI to give examples of things, generative, beware, because they don't write very good examples. Then also remember ChatGPT, although it's now coming out with a new version, it only goes, it scours the web, the internet, but only up until a certain date. It's moving forward, but it's only up to a certain date. So it's up to you to make sure it's really up to date. So those are a couple of things, when you're looking at editing a first copy of AI, those are some of the key things to watch out for. That voice, that brand that you have, the examples given, and the data, make sure that it is correct. I wanted to give you also some writing prompts. So when you're it's garbage in, garbage out. So if you're giving a prompt to an LLM like a ChatGPT or a Jasper, a Kiva, or whatever, be quite specific. So if don't say write about exporting, give them how long, what kind, what aspect, in which way, for what kind of companies, so exporting for U.S. small to medium-sized companies, what do they need to grow their international sales? So write a little text there. And then once you're writing it, refine it, repeat it, reiterate it, repeat it, play around with it. And as I said, we often go through different types of AIs to get different angles on it. Use examples. And this goes back to those sort of that voice thing I said. And here I've taken as an example of remote work. So write me a catchy blog post title in a catchy style, inspired by examples like the rise of remote, from profits, or from pajamas to profits, rise of remote work culture, and so on. So, give some very specific examples for that. Help AI get where you want it to go. Also, test out different approaches. Figure out if say, okay, here's the question. Write it in this approach. That doesn't work very well. Okay, write it in that approach. How about a step-by-step guide for busy professionals talking about international e-commerce? There, that's probably more what I actually want. So again, write out different approaches helps a lot with generative AI. And finally, try and make it layered. I put a sort of conversational aspect, so layered back and forth. So very often when we're using AI, we'll start with an overall question, and then we'll refine it by asking for in-depth about aspects of that question, so that we get a rounded approach on it. So that's so your writing prompts. Right, I'm going to give some of the takeaways. We've got a couple of minutes left for questions, and there's a couple have come in. Thank you very much. Before I do, I'm going to launch the last poll. And that's just to ask if any of you would actually like to learn about the online global programs that we have. That's for creating websites, for doing online marketing, and particularly for companies looking to grow their exports, their sales internationally. So if you have an interest in that, let us know. And again, we can circle back with you with some directional, emails, and send some assets to you, or send you some links where you can learn more about. And again, thank you all so much for your enthusiasm. We appreciate it, really do. Okay, I'm going to close that one. Never find the close button on these polls. Here we go. Got it. Right. The takeaways and some of the next steps that we wanted to highlight. I guess we haven't really talked about some of the big numbers, but the world is online, and the most effective way that you can reach your your prospective buyers, especially in international markets, is by using online business development tools, websites, and online marketing. And they are the face of your brand globally. They are incredibly effective. Your best sales rep. How about that? And certainly the best tool that you can enable a good distributor with as well. So make sure that your websites and your online marketing is working hard for you. And we didn't really talk about this very much, but touched upon a little bit with AI coming on. Sales and the way sales is done is changing. Even just a few years ago, you used to pick up the telephone and call people, or someone would cold call you. How awful! That's not done anymore. People would only rely on trade shows. You've got to have more strings to your bow, or bows to your string. What is that? More in your toolbox these days. You've got to have more assets, more tools that you can rely on to reach your prospective buyers wherever they are, internationally, in your domestic market or internationally. They want to be, and they want to be reached in the way they want, when they want, how they want. They don't want you to reach them, barging in at the door. They want, let me check you out first. I'm going to, if I have an interest in you, I'm going to check you out on your website. I'm going to connect with you on LinkedIn. I'm going to check you out. That's why your websites and your online marketing are so important for that. So in that sense, that takeaway is, digital strategies, you need to have them. And AI is a helping hand for that. It makes this whole process more efficient, more productive, and easier to do for small and mid-cap companies. Like some of the very best online tools, AI enables small and mid-cap companies to really punch above their weight and to broaden their spectrum, to really stretch the resources they have in terms of reaching out to prospective buyers across markets, across different platforms, where and how they want to, if it's used correctly. And I guess the overriding message from us is AI is a helping hand. It's not the dominant hand. Never let it get above you. You are in control of it. You need to be mindful of what it's doing. It's a very, very powerful tool. Make sure that you're able to control it. Or as Jonathan very kindly said, get an expert to help in controlling it. And this is what we do. We are 100% focused on this online world, on these tools, on online marketing, on websites, on coding, on all of that, and enabling small mid-cap companies to go internationally through the online global programs, across the states. And if you want to learn more, there's a ton on our website. So have some time on that. Right, we have very little time for that. Joelle, can I use AI to create blogs in different languages for my export markets?
Excellent question. And the short answer is absolutely you can, and you probably should, because that's a fantastic way to use it. But I just wanted to go back to the couple of slides that we've touched upon. Do make sure that you do your keyword research, that you really understand the right terminology, how people in that specific target market, in that language, are going to research, what terms are they going to be, are they finding more familiar? And you can then feed all of that into, something like ChatGPT. You say, write me a blog around this topic, focusing on, using these keywords. And then the other thing I would say, always have a native speaker proofread it. Again, hallucinations happens, and some of the things sometimes, if it's not the first language, it's harder to pick up on those inaccuracies. So again, by all means, yes, do use it and very much leverage what you have in English across the relevant markets, but make sure you do your research first and then your editing at the end.
Thank you, Jill. There's one for you, Jonathan. Hi, Jonathan. You mentioned regulation. Is NADEC involved in any AI regulatory discussions?
So the short answer is yes. When it comes to exports and AI, we are reaching out to our legislators on a regular basis to find out what is the proposed legislation going to look like, what regulations, and really trying to be a part of that conversation, because we don't want to have regulations that hamper our businesses and their exports. However, we do understand that there are going to have to be some rules and regulations put in place. I think, you know, you hear from Joelle and Susanna about copyrights and stuff like that. So we still want to have rule of law, and we don't want AI to subvert rule of law even on the internet. But at the same time, we also don't want to have it over-regulated to the point where it defeats the purpose for businesses to export or to use it as a tool for exporting.
Absolutely, absolutely. There's a couple other questions about regulation, should be by government or by businesses. To be honest, I mean, these are personal opinions at this point. I agree very much with Jonathan. It's a fine line between overregulation and having a free-for-all, especially with something so atomic as AI. You know, it can really be a very powerful tool. So it has to be done carefully. But I have a little bit of a worry that governments are going to be too slow and too heavy-handed, and businesses are going to be too self-interested. So,
I agree with you completely. All of us that have iPhones have seen that. You know, we had the old multi-point connector that we all had a million USB connectors for, chargers for, and then we went to the Lightning, and now we're going to USB-C. So if you allow the businesses to control it 100%, you're going to end up in a situation that's going to be self-serving for them. If you allow the governments to regulate it, then it's going to be very self-serving to them and their lobbyists. So I think there's a fine line that we really have to walk, and I think it's going to be a combination of businesses and governments coming together to come up with the right set of regulations. And you can see that in the private industry. If a company has basically a monopoly, you're going to see that everything's going to be skewed one way towards them. And in, you know, AI, we really don't want to pick winners and losers.
Indeed, absolutely. Yeah. So I said earlier, it's very interesting watching. This is, I think, also being spearheaded by the music industry, and there's a lot going on in that field as well, which is really worth watching if you have an interest in the regulatory side. Perhaps a quick one again for you, Joelle. Question from Cynthia. Well, actually, two questions from different people that sort of combine about how do you measure ROI for AI, or do you look at ROI for AI events?
Absolutely. I think that's a key question as well. So everything that I would say in marketing is important to align with your return on investment, and all of that is based. So what metrics you track and what metrics show ROI is always dependent on your business goals and what you're trying to achieve on, for example, if you're on Facebook, if you want brand awareness, that we'll be looking at, have our likes increased, have the reaction, are people sharing our posts more, anything that's got, you know, generating more links back to the website, but also then how do people engage on the website? Do they buy more? Have we managed to get more people to the contact page? All of those are metrics that can be tracked based on AI optimization. So is our content better? Is our targeting better from our audiences? Is the user experience on the website because of the A/B testing? So all of these actions in the funnel can be tracked as metrics where we've used AI to help us. What matters to you is very much has to be linked to what business goals you set out at the beginning of your marketing strategy.
We have quite a few blogs on ROI as well, which we can also send you if you have an interest in that. We've gone over time, and you've all stayed, so thank you very, very much indeed. A big shout out to Jonathan, as always, for his time and his support and the amazing, fantastic job that he's doing at NADEC. So we really appreciate that, Jonathan, and spending some time with us. Joelle, as always, really insightful and always so knowledgeable about these things. Thank you very much. Most of all, thank you all for attending and for spending some time with us. We know time is precious, and we really appreciate your time today. We hope that we had some discussion that was of interest and thought-provoking for you on AI. reach out to us if we can help. And happy exporting. You know, get on that ChatGPT and have some fun with it and enjoy it. Thank you all very, very much. Have a great rest of the day. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.